The thing about sharing a bed with someone day in and day out and you're not fucking them, it starts to just kind of wear and tear. I need to fall asleep and wake up in the company of me, myself, and Irene. I need to masturbate.
It's Sofia Franklyn. You are listening to Sofia with an F, hey, Sloots. And the F is for phenomenal.
What the hell goes down in the Hamptons? I'm about to recap my Hamptons trip. Emphasis on the trip part because I was tripping balls. It was either I took a hit of LSD on my way there or life truly imitates art, because I'm still at a loss for words, which isn't great for a podcast episode, but I'm going to do my very, very best to put into words what went down. And I'm still trying to wrap my brain around it. If you haven't, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Sofia with an F, Franklyn with a Y, podcast Sofia with an F, and you'll be able to see me. And if you're just listening to this and kicking it old school and you just have your earbuds in and you're not watching me, if you enjoyed the episode, I would be so forever grateful if you share it with a friend. Anyways, I decided to go to the Hamptons because I wanted a bed and a pool. And that's not because I'm homeless. That is because I was sharing a bed with my mom at this point for almost a month. My mom came to visit me in New York / and probably the real reason, work, because she has like a contract out here. And instead of getting a hotel, because we are extremely close, she just stays in my apartment with me. The thing about sharing a bed with someone day in and day out and you're not fucking them, it starts to just kind of wear and tear. And I kind of hit this breaking point where I was like, I need to masturbate. I need to fall asleep and wake up in the company of me, myself, and Irene. And I want a pool because it's fucking hot as balls in the city. And there is a reason that every New Yorker goes out east, as they would call it, or goes to Europe, or whatever the fuck New Yorkers are doing during the summer. There is a reason why everyone feels this very, very intense motivation to GTFO. It's not having a car. It's the hustle and bustle. There's something about Manhattan that really pushes people to want to escape for a little bit. More than, I would say, Salt Lake City. I never had this intense of like I need to just, disappear. So I decided to go to the Hamptons. And I was like, how am I going to justify bawling out this hard? Because I decided to rent a Hamptons house. It had to have a pool. That was very, very important to me. And I also needed it to be available in 2 days from when I made this decision. And if you guys know anything about the Hamptons, people are like renting that shit 2 years in advance. It's like a whole thing. So I always like to think to myself when I'm going to ball out like that, how can I justify this? Make it a work trip. I tell my assistant, hey, we're headed to the Hamptons, pack a bag. We leave in 2 days. She's like, bet. I actually don't know if I've introduced my assistant to you guys yet or even talked about her. She's so phenomenal, so incredible. Her name is Sofia, by the way. Her name is Sofia with a PH. So let that just sink in. And if that wasn't like the cosmos bringing us together, I don't know what was. Even though every single female on the planet's name is Sofia. But I choose to think it was, the planets aligning. So Soph gets the rental car situated, the house situated, everything situated. And mind you, before I really dive into what the fuck went down, I am at a place right now where I am really happy. I am at a place in my life right now where I don't remember being this happy. I haven't been this happy in a very long time. And it's important to point that out because it's gonna explain a lot of the things that I'm gonna say on this episode. And I also just like want to share that with you guys. I feel as if I need to only share when it's something that's like a negative. Oh, I'm going through a breakup. Let's be super real and vulnerable and cry on camera and share that. Oh, I'm going through this hardship. Let's share that. And for some reason, when I'm ecstatic and so happy and just feeling so blessed, then I don't feel like I need to share that, or maybe I feel uncomfortable sharing that, which I think is very common. And you guys tell me if you do the same thing. Even with friends, sometimes I'll catch myself really starting to just talk negatively about me or my life. I think it's to make them feel comfortable, or because I'm just so overly self-aware to the point that I'm like, God forbid you come off like you're bragging or you're this or you're that. And it's like, it's a bunch of bullshit. But I am genuinely so happy right now. And it's not because I'm talking to anyone. It's not because I won the lottery. Like, there's no external factors to point to as to why I'm feeling this good. There has been a serious shift in my career and my relationship to my career, which is interesting because, you know, work and your career and your job title should not dictate your happiness levels. But when you're spending 80% of your life doing a thing, your relationship to that thing better be healthy. You know what I'm saying? Or else you are going to be miserable. And I think that my job is such an incredible job, but my relationship to it was super fucked. And ever since I went through my breakup, it's had this snowball effect, and all of these other facets of my life are now falling into place, which is a very interesting analyzation. It's not like, oh, all of a sudden I'm making double, triple my income. Oh, all of a sudden, you know, that part of my job that I hate, I no longer have to do. And now I can just do this part. Like, nothing like that happened. I will tell you what happened. I believe it was 2 weeks ago. I'm sitting in my room. I believe it was a Wednesday. And I receive a phone call that was not great. And as soon as I hung up the phone, everything that deep down I've known needs to happen, but I was too afraid to do it, all of those things came rushing in. And it wasn't as if, like, after I hung up this, you know, scary phone call, I had this revelation or this huge discovery of this new thing. The only thing that happened is that for whatever reason, after the call, everything that I have been avoiding or fearful of or didn't know how to approach, didn't know how to make happen, every single thing, all of a sudden, it became, you have no other option, so you're fucking doing it. I'm trying to say, it's like, oh my God, I had this like big girl moment. But it was, this has been a long time coming. And I think a lot of times changes and success happen in that manner. Success is not linear. We've all fucking heard it. It has been years in the making for me to finally go through with the things that I need to go through with in order to advance and grow as a human, in my career, and everywhere else. Ow, I just got a sharp thing in my eye. And I've attempted to make these changes, and I sound very philosophical right now, and I hope you guys are able to follow, but I have tried to make these changes and implement these things time and time and time and time again. I've had people on my team come and go saying, if you could just do this, then we would be in such a better place. And for whatever reason, I have never been able to do it. Never. And this is years. This is years of me knowing exactly what needs to happen and feeling this serious resistance and shame because I can't do it. After this phone call, I didn't know if I was going to be able to do it, but I'm here to tell you all of those changes and things that I've wanted to do have been happening, are getting easier and easier to do. And I think it's because I'm doing the scary shit. And let's be honest, it's because it's my only option. I can either get with it or I can get totally trampled. And you know what? Thank God for that phone call. But I'm also very proud of myself and very excited of where I'm going. It was like a veil was lifted. And I'm going to talk about this later. More on that later. But the actual trip to the Hamptons, okay? Let's bring it right the fuck back. Soph gets to my apartment super early Friday morning. And I am just so ecstatic and have this just completely newfound love and excitement for my goddamn job. And everything. I start seeing fruit stands, suburbia, seafood restaurants, fenced fields, nature. And it's super comforting and it's so beautiful and it like reminds me of home. And then we get to the house and we have this little makeshift cardboard sign, which this whole operation, SWAF as we know it, the whole trip was a little bit like Camp David. I grabbed this cardboard sign and I was like, Soph, we're just gonna do things completely differently and we are starting from fucking scratch and I don't care how long it takes. I don't care what the details are. Marketing, job, business model, business strategy, the marketing of the show, the marketing of me, every single thing is no longer let's follow the steps and let's see what other people are doing. It is just 100% what do we want to do and what do we like, and let's only take into account the people that actually matter, which in this instance is me and you guys. Those are the only people who matter. I'm no longer making content for people I want to attract to the show and new listeners just so I can like get bigger and strong, whatever. I'm no longer making content or doing my job for anybody but myself and you guys. Thank you. Come again. That's it. And that's all I fucking care about. Because at the end of the day, it's just me and it's just y'all. I have Soph write on this cardboard sign, which was just a piece of a cardboard box we ripped off. Go listen to SWAF or some bullshit. And it was really cute. And we put it in the car. And the entire car ride, it was like I wish I could just blame it on a 60 milligram Adderall rampage, but I was very much sober. I just have been feeling ecstatic. I told Soph, buckle in, babe. We're going for a wild ride. Grab a pen and paper and just spitballing ideas. And then we get to the house, which was even more idyllic and fairy tale like than it looked like on Airbnb. There's these white fence double door gates that we have to open manually. Like we have to get out of the car and open them and then pull the car in and then close them. And this sign next to this gate says, please make sure to close the gates after you enter or else deer will come. And I was very tempted to accidentally leave a gate open, but I didn't because then I saw a bunny and I was about to say hummingbirds, but that would be lying. But I did see fireflies when it was nighttime. It was the cutest house and the most amazing vibes and everything was just magic. And then I get a call from my ex. And we haven't spoken in a minute. And I didn't answer, obviously. And I'm like, no. Oh, no. No. God, I know when you make a plan, God laughs. But he can't be this sadistic. Like, this is not happening. And then I get another phone call. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I have not spoken to my ex in I don't know how long. Why is he calling me? Why is he calling me back to back? So I grab my phone and I'm like, what's going on? Because I was just going to like ignore it and just, object permanence. Whoop, the phone call disappeared and so has the person. Bye. But when I got that second phone call and I say third phone call, I was like, I need to see what the fuck is up. I grab my phone, I go to my texts, and I start reading what he sent me. And apparently I had called him by accident. And I just want to read to you guys the text that he sent me. Oh, I can pull up my text on an iPad. I'm not a grandmother because you cannot make this shit up. Like you just can't. Okay. Hey, I think you just butt dialed me. Well, I got 2 calls from you. Just tried to call you back. All I heard is quotation marks. We are going to get after it today so hard. End quotation marks. We are going to get after it today so hard. I butt dialed my ex as soon as I get to my sanctuary in the Hamptons and just so happened to be talking to Soph, my assistant, and saying, we are going to get after it today so hard. In retrospect, if the opposite thing happened and he accidentally called me and that's all I fucking heard with birds chirping, I'd be like, oh, this hoe is somewhere not in the city with a bitch and they're talking about having sex. Or they're talking about partying. We are going to get after it today so hard, which is also really embarrassing and made me kind of take a second look at myself and be like, is that how you talk? Like when you're talking about work, we're going to get after it so hard today. Like, what the fuck? So that was like really interesting. But you know what? I brush it off. Whatever, what's a little butt dial? So that was Friday. Then Saturday rolls around and I have something come over me where I'm like, we're not in the Hamptons right now and it's not about to be 4th of July and National Anthem by Lana Del Rey is not playing. And I played the music video and Soph was fucking in the corner trying to figure out shutter speed on the camera by throwing a napkin up in the air and snapping pictures of it, which is really, really funny. And I look at Lana Del Rey's makeup. I look at her outfit. I look at A$AP Rocky, who I would he is my celeb crush. There you go. And I'm like, I need to emulate this. I could never touch her. I could never measure up to her, but I need to try to emulate this. I Google how to do national anthem Lana Del Rey makeup on YouTube. Something pops up. This girl's doing a cut crease. I learned how to do I'm not good at makeup, by the way. I learned how to do a cut crease in 2 minutes. I style my hair like Lana without hairspray, without a bump it, without fucking anything that you would need, but I just make it happen and I get thrifty and do a makeshift job. Another 4 minutes. And next thing you know, I'm in a state of flow, of purposeful play, which purposeful play, if you guys don't know, is actually a term for children. And what the term means in psychology or wherever the fuck, purposeful play is making sure that when children are having fun time, the fun time has a purpose. So like they're not just like building a sandcastle, they're building a sandcastle to house hermit crabs, which obviously is not a thing because I don't think hermit crabs live in sandcastles. Also, I don't think the children, the age I'm referring to, know how to build a sandcastle, but purposeful play is that. And I like to incorporate that into my adult life. Like I want my job to be purposeful play. I want to be playing with an end goal. Is that the shrooms talking or is that fucking me? So we finished this photo shoot, I think because I was laying in the grass for a while and then I stood up and a slug was literally crawling up my stomach, aka humping it, because slugs don't crawl. I guess they just squirm and hump and gyrate. Why am I talking about a slug sexually right now? But I stood up and there was a slug on my stomach and I flicked it off and that freaked me the fuck out. And I was like, that's a wrap. So we're done working and I'm like, you know what? This is a work trip, but like we deserve to let loose. We've been getting after it so hard today. We deserve to enjoy and maybe get a little drunk and just, have fun. So what do? I do what I always do, and I text 10 people who I have not responded to or ghosted, who I just assume would maybe be in the Hamptons. And lo and behold, my friend, we're going to call him Jake responds and he's like, oh my God, that's so amazing you're here. We're going to go out to the club, but first meet me at this restaurant, I guess you could say. And then my driver will take us to the club. And I'm like, I'm not trying to like sit at a restaurant. I don't really know Jake that well at this point. I don't know what people he's with. Like, I just want to go straight to the club. And Jake is like, listen, we're just going to be here for 20, 30 minutes. And then we're headed straight to the club and my driver's going to take us and it will just be easier that way. And I'm like, you know what? I have a cut crease. I have hair to the ceiling and I look stunning. And it would be sacrilege for me to not go out tonight. So I tell him yes. I said, can we party later on? He said yes. Okay. Life imitates art. And that is a real fucking thing. You just saw it. So Soph and I make the hike to the Uber, which was an actual hike, you guys, and there's no lights. And we were going through grass and shrubbery that was up to our fucking waist. We did later on figure out there's a completely different entrance that Ubers can actually see and that has like an actual gate and is not straight into the fucking depths of the unknown field. But you know what? The more you know. And I like to think that I wasn't already kind of tipsy at this point. I'm sorry. Like, I needed a few Aperol spritz while I was doing this photo shoot, trying to emulate my absolute icon. Like, I needed a little tipsy. And I'm in a bikini. And, you know, I'm feeling good about my body. Not great. I'm very teeny tiny right now. I wanted a fucking Aperol spritz to get loose. Sue me. So we get to the restaurant and there's like a line of people. And I'm like, oh, this is about to be fucking lit. I call my friend. He tells me that he's going to have someone come and grab us. This lady comes out and she's like, everyone moves. Is there Sofia Franklyn? Sophia? And I'm like, hi. And I raise my hand and she comes and grabs us and leads us inside. This spot is at 2% occupancy. I'm pretty sure there were people actually like eating dinner and then they just fucking rented out the back room and threw a DJ in there because it is pretty small. Shit was empty. Music was blasting. There were a total of 4 tables. But like I could have done a cartwheel across the dance floor and like it wouldn't have done shit. Which is like totally fine until I really started to look around. It was as if the county fair had exploded and decided to rent this space for the weekend. I swear to God, there was a woman on stilts. She had to have been 6'8". It was, but like she wasn't on stilts and it was just bizarre. And then there was like another dude who was like 6'7", but like they weren't part of the same party. And then there were stripes and not in the Hamptons horizontal way, like vertical. And then a guy walked in with a top hat and a cane and a suit. And I thought I was getting punked. I was like, is this absinthe in this alcohol? Because what the fuck? And the DJ is wearing like a boa. And then there's like a group of women just in these like nautical themed caftans. And then there's like I swear to God, like almost 80-year-old dude with like this 19-year-old girl, which isn't that crazy, but like in this setting, it was just, and the shoes people were wearing, I'm like, we're in the Hamptons. Why are you decked out in BB clothing? A store that fucking shut down and went bankrupt in the early 2000s with Louboutin heels that no one would wear around here, not in a pretentious way, in a, where am I? What is happening kind of way. Like, it was so fucking crazy. It was so crazy. And it wasn't just me. Soph can also tell you guys. It was like a game of Clue. It was like Mrs. White and Colonel Mustard showed up to the fucking pregame. Like, Mrs. White had a dagger and committed the murder in the library. Like, it was just very bizarre. So we are just dancing for hours and we really could give 2 shits what's going on until the clock strikes 1 a.m. And I'm like, okay, it's been really fun. I need to check in with my friend because, you know, we're supposed to actually go to the club and it's a little bit late at this point. And I look for Jake and I don't see him anywhere. And I'm like, okay, he's like using the restroom. I give him a call. It turns out that Jake was at the club already and had been for an extended period of time and was turning up there. And, I'm not going to hold that against Jake. I like to think that he just saw us having the time of our lives and he just like didn't want to interrupt. And he was like, those two fit right in with the crowd here. But I needed a change of scenery. So we head on over to the next location, which is Ketchy Beach, which is also like older stepsister that's really fun and like a little bit cuckoo and a little bit, not appropriate. Because in the city, there's a restaurant called Ketchy Beach, which is really, really fucking good. We go to Ketchy Beach and there's two things that I need to point out. Number one, never in my years of being on this earth have I seen the front of house staff wearing uniforms such as these ones. And I did a fucking Google search and I typed in Ketchy Beach uniforms because I won't be able to give it the recognition it deserves because it was the craziest shit I've ever seen. And by the way, I used to work at a little place called The New Yorker in Salt Lake City, and I wore a bow tie, okay? I know what a uniform is, and I know how buttoned up and how intense they can be. This was fucking insane, and the only way I know how to describe it is Monsters, Inc. It's the guys that like go around the Monsters, Inc. corp and they're looking for Randall, A, but B, they're just looking for people that are up to nonsense. And they're like wearing these hazmat suits. The people at Ketchy Beach who work there were wearing hazmat suits. And I'm going to post a link to exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. It looked like circa 2020. Is that when COVID happened? And all the people that worked in the medical field. Okay, but make those hazmat suits like a kind of turquoise green, top to bottom jumpsuit, big inflatable craziness. And at this point, I keep talking about like how crazy, and I'm like talking about colors and stripes and all this shit. And yeah, you might be thinking to yourselves, could Sofia have been like under the influence of something? I was casually microdosing. It was not the shrooms. I was barely taking any. And also, how are Soph and I going to see the exact same fucking shit? So anyways, we go inside Ketchy Beach, and similar to the previous location, it's kind of empty. I mean, there's a DJ going fucking balls to the wall, and the people that are around the DJ are also going balls to the wall. You would think John Summit is fucking up there, or better yet, Dom Dalla. But like, it was pretty empty. Oh my God, and the sweetest girl came up to me, and she was a slew, and I think I hugged her. I actually want to say sorry inappropriately 27 times. And then here's the second thing. And this is like what really just solidified the entire trip. We're in this club. There's not a lot of people there. And I catch like a little glimpse through the window. And I'm like, wait a second. There's like people outside. And not only that, like there's something going on outdoors. This is 40 minutes into being at this location indoors. And Soph and I being like, we should just fucking bounce. And I peer through this window, and it is the bridge to Terabithia. I mean, it went from Las Vegas, you're in your hotel room at 7 a.m. and the Coke ran out and everyone just wants to leave, to excess, Hakkasan, and the biggest DJ in the world is playing and you're on stage. Like the outdoor world just opened up, and all of this, it was so cute. The people were sexy as shit. It was a different world. These really sweet girls came up to us. They like all worked in PR, and they recognized me, and they were sloots. And of course, I ended up spending the entirety of the night with them. Soph and I are outside for a total of 5 minutes, and we're chatting it up with these girls. And this child comes up to me and says, "Hi, I'm Nick. I'm a boy." That is word for word, and you can quote me on that. What I thought was way too young to be in the club kid. And of course, I'm like, okay, where are your parents? I didn't actually say that. I mean, he was probably like 20, maybe 21. And I actually completely forgot his name until now. Yeah, his name was Nick. And the reason why I'm bringing Nick up is because the entire night became the fucking Sofia versus Nick. And it was like Logan Paul versus Dylan Dennis type shit. Like the whole night just took a fucking 180. And let me tell you why. It's not because I fucking got in the boxing ring and we were throwing punches. It's because this kid was persistent to the point that it became incredibly annoying, to the point that I didn't even realize what was happening until the girls we were with, I could just see on their faces that they were getting very, very upset. And one of the girls tapped me on the shoulder and she was like, "Wait, this is not okay." And like, he needs to leave. This is like 45 minutes after us saying, "Okay, this has been really fun. Thank you. Like, we're not interested." This is 45 minutes after that conversation that this kid would not leave. Okay? So this is what I did. And maybe this will actually like kind of shed light on what kind of kid this is. This is the kid who asked me what my name was, what I did for work, and if I had fucked Steiny. This is the kid that I referenced in a previous episode. Oh, you don't know who I am and you don't know my name and you don't know what I do for work, but like your main concern right now is if I fucked Steiny. Okay, that's cool. Also, why do you care? Also, why is there a drop dead gorgeous 6-foot model dude lingering in the shadows behind you but won't leave your side? Are you guys together? Are you guys friends? I was very confused because he was what seemed to be alone, but he wasn't. I asked if he was with anybody and he pointed to this dude who was always at least 3 feet behind him with a trucker hat. And if you're listening to this, or Nick, if you are, like, I love you. I just, you're a little bit young and maybe you had too much to drink. That's fine. Still DM me because I want to know who the guy you were with. That's who I'm trying to get to. He seemed like a little bit more my age. I asked Nick who that guy was, and he said it was his security. And I was like, this kid is full of shit. Anyways, I noticed that everyone is like visibly not feeling Nick. And I take it upon myself to make sure everyone is having a good time, which I do anytime I go out and just in my daily life. And I kind of do everything in my power to get rid of him, but I get creative. Why? Because microdosing makes you creative as fuck, but also because we told him no 783 times and no obviously wasn't working. So we're all sitting on like one of the day beds and I whisper to all of the girls and I tell Nick, like, just give us 1 second. And I tell all of the girls, okay, on the count of 3, we're going to say, Nick, go home. And we're just going to keep saying it. And then I'm like, 1, 2, and then it's 6 girls just chanting, Nick, go home, screaming at the top of our lungs. And we do it for quite a bit. He doesn't waver. He doesn't flinch. I'm like, all right, let's go to the second option here. How do we get rid of this dude so we can just have a girls' night? I decide to play a game of Simon Says. And I know what the game Simon Says actually entails, but when I was playing with Nick, I was like, okay, Simon says to follow whatever I'm doing. And then I started running out of the club. And he didn't follow me. So I was like, okay, wait, let me explain to you how the game works. Whatever Simon says, you have to do it, okay? Simon says, turn around, leave. Nick, A, didn't think it was that funny, and B, didn't give a shit. So then I'm like trying to come up with shit. Nick is just still with the, come back to my place and we'll rage. Come back to mine. I've got drugs. Come back to mine. I've got like the best Coke. And then I thought to myself, okay, bet. Let's see how good your Coke is. I see there's 2 security guards. I know he doesn't have Coke on him because I said, okay, if you have Coke, then put it on this table right now. Please line up a line for me or you are full of shit and I'm going to freak out. He obviously didn't have the drugs on him. And I see the security guards and I'm like, I'm going to take my chance right now. And I know this sounds fucked up. This kid was not going to get in trouble. I scream at the top of my lungs, go get your blow from the car and bring it to me. Screaming. The security guards look at me, both of which were also hot as shit. The fucking men in New York and then specifically the Hamptons, like they're hot. So women, please, you need to move here. But the security guards obviously hear me and they don't give 2 shits. So that was my night with Nick. And then there's, honorable mentions. There's Jaws, which is a name I gave this other guy because he was also begging us to go do his blow. Except I was actually interested in his blow because his jaw, I haven't seen someone grind their jaw like that since blow is actually blow. The guy at the bar that I was like, oh my God, you must be Spanish. And he got super fucking offended but then I put my drink on his tab, similar to the Uber driver. I don't know why. Just, can you not ask people if they're Spanish anymore? I mean, I am. Like, who gives a shit? That was Saturday night. Sunday, something even crazier that I still haven't gotten over happens. And I'm going to tell it very quickly. And I'm going to have to leave out some details, but I really just need to get it off my chest and share it with you guys. So Jake the next day is like, hey, sorry about last night. Meant to bring you with me, but whatever. He tells me that there's a barbecue. And I'm like, okay, I'm hungover and Soph and I are like not really planning on going. And this is around like 1 or 2. And then we're driving and we get dinner and it started pouring rain. And that was like another really magical moment. And then we're on our way home and I'm like, let's stop by the barbecue. Mind you, this is 7 p.m. The barbecue is at 1. I didn't give a flying fuck. I'm like, let's stop by because it's on the way home. I want to see if maybe Jake's there. We pull up to these big pearly gates and press the intercom and we get told that the barbecue is no longer. I needed to pee my pants. So I asked if I could just quickly use the restroom. / I just wanted to see like who was there. And obviously I didn't want to go home. I'm not fucking leaving Leonardo DiCaprio and Wolf of Wall Street. The guy is kind of hesitant at first, and then he makes a call, and then he's like, okay, whatever. He lets us use the restroom. Basically, once we stepped out of the car to use the restroom, we ask if there's still anything going on, barbecue or not. We're not necessarily that hungry. And then the guy proceeds to say that there is a sex party and that we need to get naked. I wasn't really, like, when I think sex party and get naked, I don't think Hamptons and kind of daylight. And bunnies and flowers and trees. And I was a little bit taken aback. And the guy says, you guys need to get naked. And then I start looking around, and I'm looking around this area that's inside the house, and I'm like, there's, let me just call them apparatuses. Like, it was very clear like something freaky was going on. I showed up to go to a Hamptons barbecue by the pool, and we get out of the car and are asked to take our clothes off if we want to stay. And basically, like, are you guys ready for the sex party? I guess there was no party because, which I didn't understand in the moment, but then Soph brought it to my attention on the way home. Like, did you not realize there was no one there? And there was no party. Like, the party consisted of you, me, and whoever lives at this location. I obviously am unaware of a lot of my surroundings. I did speak to Jake later on in the night, and he did let me know that there was in fact no sex party, and that party was just going to be the three of us. The really fucked up thing about this, you guys, and I need to take a good hard look at myself, is like, I was not totally opposed. I wasn't going to have sex and I wasn't going to get naked, but I did start bartering with the middleman or the dude who like let us in. And I was like, I won't get naked. Let me go home and get my bikini. And then we both settled on me just wearing a sarong, but like he had to tie it on my body. And then I was like, does it cover my tits or my vagina? Do I have to pick one area? And he was like, no, I can make a dress out of it. And it's crazy. Girls don't know how to do that. Long story short, that it's just, this whole trip is not how I picture the Hamptons. And I'm so fine with it. I just needed to tell you guys, and I've been waiting to tell you guys. And it was also one of the most incredible trips I've ever had, partly because all of this unexpected, crazy as fuck shit happened, but also because I had fun with my job again. I had fun, period. I was working and I was enjoying it, period. And it's been a very, very long time since I can genuinely say that. And even the things that like were more difficult, or it was just this unbelievable moment. And the reason I like want to point that out is I think everyone reaches like a place in their career where they kind of question what the fuck they're doing. It's not just me, and it's not just my age, and it's not just the, job space that I'm in. Everyone has this moment where you're in something for so long and you think to yourself, do I want to keep going? Is this what I want to be doing? Is this my future? And this podcast is still my safe haven and the most sacred thing to me. And if I lost every other platform and every dollar to my name, I would probably have to like suck dick or figure something out so I could but I would still make sure. There's one thing, I will still be putting out an episode before you get a TikTok out of me or what have you. But the podcast is not the end all be all. You guys are, I am, because that's what matters at the end of the day and like brings me real joy. But the podcast is not it. And so I started to and have been experimenting with all of these other facets of the job and feeling creative and really fucking enjoying life because of it. Hi, I posted 3 grid posts, on Instagram, which by the way were phenomenal. This is coming from the girl who used to be so avoidant of life and of work and of social media. And it's like the veil has been lifted and It's Sofia fucking 2.0 and Sloots and Swaff 2.0. And with that, you guys, my storytelling has come to an end, and I will talk to you guys next week. Bye.